COVID-19 is still a thing. Mask wearing, regular sanitizing, and hand washing are still required, yet not everyone is doing their part. Our elderly, who are mostly staying at home, are catching it because others are bringing it to them. Take a minute and think about our future, our children and seniors, and do the right thing. I cannot stress this enough. Each one, help one, and prevent the spread of COVID-19. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. Stay tuned.
Are you aware of how Jamaican adolescents use social media? What do they do online? What do they post? Do you know if they are being harassed? These are questions you should be asking yourself because it is your duty to keep your children safe online. Parents, here's what you need to do. Be active online and offline. Help your child to set up his or her online profile. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the different social media applications that they use and set some rules. Protect our nation's children and save them from cybercriminal attacks.
The Rural Economic Development Initiative Ready 2 project is an initiative of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund with financing through a loan agreement with the World Bank. Let's find out more about this 5-year project.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Today we'll be focusing on the Rural Economic Development Initiative of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, the JSIF. Our resource person is Managing Director Omar Sweeney. Mr. Sweeney, so good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right, good. We want to start at the very beginning. Okay. What is the Rural Economic Development Initiative?
Well, JSIF, as you know, for the last 24 years, we've been in rural Jamaica especially, developing infrastructure and providing social services. One of the crying calls from persons in these communities is a sustainable livelihood. So in 2010, we initiated with our partners, the World Bank,
yes,
the Rural Economic Development Initiative, and that was really aimed at helping the economies of these small communities and villages where persons could earn where they are, right? We could stop the rural to urban drift,
yes,
and we could connect now the infrastructure we have made in schools and health centers and roads to a thriving economy. So in 2020, Ready, targeting agriculture and community-based tourism enterprises was initiated. And that went for 7 years,
right,
under a loan from the World Bank,
yes,
of $15 million US.
Yes, right. So the World Bank is your partner. Tell me about some of the achievements in the first phase.
In the first phase, like I said, with the $15 million US over the 7 years, we were able to create 1,300 sustainable
yes,
jobs. I mean, in real terms, that's close to 100 jobs per parish. We saw agriculture in 2016, a 17% increase in the agricultural production in the country. And more than anything else, I think one of our greatest achievements was $6 million US of our food import bill was reduced. So
good,
local farmers were able to
good,
provide that amount of food to the market.
Good, very good, excellent. So now we're at phase 2, which was launched in September of this
Yes.
year. What are you expecting from this phase?
Well, we established a number of enterprises on the phase 1, Ready 1. On the phase 2, we are going to continue to dive deeper. Ready 1 targeted roughly 5 parishes. This is an all-island program, right? This will also target medium and micro small business enterprises. It will target additional community tourism enterprises, especially in underserved parishes like St. Thomas and Hanover, where there's many opportunities, but they just have not been developed. And so our intention here, we have a much larger pool of funds. It's $40 million US, like I said, for all island. And so our expectation on the Ready 2 is to really to continue to reap the success of the program.
Right. So this focus is on agriculture and now tourism. So it's a link to create some kind of linkages?
There's a linkage because the tourism industry, of course, I mentioned the food import bill, the tourism industry imports a lot of food. And beyond the domestic market, our farmers can produce at the quality and scale that the tourism industry requires. Also, beyond the normal all-inclusives, there are many local attractions, not just for visitors, but also for local tourists ourselves. There are many local attractions in every parish island-wide that could be developed to the standard. Under the Ready One, the community tourism policy was developed. And what that does, it sets a baseline or a standard for all attractions. So you have a nice hiking trail, you have a waterfall, something going on, but there's a standard because you want to ensure when people come to your property, they're properly insured, the safety protocols are in place. Now there's COVID. And so we want to ensure that when someone comes to the market and says they're offering a product, the government can sanction it. And so this is the type of support that small, medium business enterprises will get to develop their tourism enterprises.
Right. So we have more funds. I think in the first phase, people got like 200, and now you're moving up to 5. Tell me what are the benefits and compare them for me.
We don't particularly have any specific amount for the grant. The grant's amount for this program the maximum ceiling is $500,000 US dollars.
Yes,
the average grant we expect to give will probably be around $200,000 based on the cohort that we're going for. The next thing I would say to you is that it's a matching grant program, which does not mean that if you're asking for $5 million, you need to have $5 million. It just means that based on the enterprises, you will have to put some of your own financial resources into it.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about the people who can access this grant.
That's a great question. One of the things that happens when you say small business enterprises, we are targeting community groups. The basis of how JSIF works is on the basis of community enterprises, benevolent societies, associations, small registered groups, farming groups, women groups, different enterprises that are registered groups. Individual businesses would have to show a linkage to a group, okay? So if you have a business, for example, that takes produce from a group of registered farmers and sells it to the supermarkets, you are eligible because you can show the linkage to the community group. Because that community group may not necessarily be interested in selling to the supermarket. They just want someone to take it off of them. And so it's really open to all entities, but you have to show a strong linkage to a community enterprise.
Let's take a quick break now and pick up with more information on the Rural Economic Development Initiative of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. Stay with us.
If you've ever wondered what your property taxes are used for, wonder no more. Your property taxes provide revenue for the provision of public and community amenities throughout Jamaica, which are delivered by local government officials. When you pay your property taxes, you aid with the maintenance and expansion of our street lighting to ensure you are not walking in the dark at nights, the collection and disposal of solid waste to prevent the pileup of garbage in communities, the improvement of our community infrastructure, and repairs to fire stations and service vehicles, along with rehabilitation of our roads. Pay your property taxes online, in line, or via mobile tax units and avoid being sought by the government. For more information, visit the Tax Administration website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm or call 876-902-9463.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are talking to the Managing Director of JSIF, Mr. Omar Sweeney. Thank you so very much for staying with us. Mr. Sweeney, JSIF is now accepting business proposals for the community tourism enterprises for matching grant support program under Ready. Now, we were talking about who can apply for this kind of support. Tell us about the application requirements.
Okay, so first of all, our partners with the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Tourism will host the applications and enable persons to apply. So I encourage you to work through the agencies like TPDCO, RADA, Jamaica Bauxite Institute, the SDC, Tourism Enhancement Fund, and the Jamaica Tourist Board. They will host and facilitate and enable persons, because there are many questions that persons have based on their unique situation. And so that's one. The second thing is, beyond, I mentioned the community groups before, we are looking for applications that especially encourage and target women, 40% women participation, and youth. At least 30% of youth is something that will be more favorable type of applications. I also wanted to say that Ready2 will support the government institutions with infrastructure, like agro-processing facilities, to like honey bottling facilities. These are the things that will enable purveyors and persons doing farming to have value-added products beyond the normal shelf life. Right. And so the applications are due November 25th. Now, what I would say to that is, if you're not going to be ready for November 25th, don't feel as if you have missed the boat. This is only the first call, yes, right? Yes. We don't anticipate that the entire amount of the grants will be granted from this first call of proposals. I would prefer for you to be properly prepared, and the next call will come out, I would say, in 2021, and then you'll be able to apply at that point in time.
So what do you mean by ready, prepared? What do they need to be ready to be prepared?
To be prepared, you'd have to provide, for instance, your company information. You'd have to provide your evidence of linkages, like I mentioned with the community groups. You have to provide the business feasibility of your company, the structure of your company, as well as your business plan. It's essentially a business plan type of proposal to access the grant. And if you do have to provide matching resources, you would provide evidence of those resources.
Right. So who can help them if they don't have those business plan and all of those things?
Well, there's other government agencies like the JBDC, yes, that will help. And like I said, we have officers in JSIF that will also facilitate, but it's not going to be a situation where someone will do all the work for you. I mean, you do have to show some demonstrated capacity to receive this. I mean, if you think about it, to receive a grant of $20, $25, $30 million, that will go to an entity that demonstrates some capacity to manage those resources.
For starters, though, we need to just get to our website and download the form and yes, read what is needed. Correct. Tell us which website.
Well, our website, www.jsif.org. The form is there. And like I said, the websites of all our partners, I don't have them to memory. Right. But certainly, if not, you can just call in, send an email, and we will, and now JIS. Yes, can also help to facilitate.
Yes. We want people to know that even though we're targeting women and young people, that everybody else can.
It's open to all. It's open to all parishes, all communities, and all entities. I'm just giving some pointers in terms of the ones that will be most competitive. Yes, yes. And we really encourage. What we want to encourage is a robust participation, because we only have 5 years to assess the applications and implement the solutions.
So this will take 5 years?
What?
You said you have 5 years.
No. Ready2.
Yes.
The financing is for 5 years.
Okay.
So we have to assess it, give the grant, and allow you to implement the grant within the period of the 5 years to be on the road to success.
All right. Okay. So it's open. It's open now.
Yes.
Right. And people have the deadline. Remind us of the deadline again.
November 25th.
Right. And just talk to Jamaica about this initiative.
Well, I encourage Jamaica to really take part in this initiative. I mean, certainly with the COVID pandemic, many small and micro enterprises are struggling now to stay in business. But we do know to recover and to emerge, we have to stimulate domestic demand. We have to have domestic supply. We have to continue to have a high standard of goods and services. And Ready is here to support that. The government of Jamaica has added Ready to the suite of support programs that will be offered to help private sector to really ride the storm out.
Right. And Ready 2 is targeting farmers, and we want people to access this funding so it can help them beyond COVID.
Absolutely. And beyond COVID, there's also climate resilience. I mean, drought
Yes.
for farmers is a big thing. So drip irrigation kits, greenhouses, protected agriculture, all these type of climate resilient technologies are the things that Ready will be funding.
Yes. Before we wrap though, tell us a little bit about JSIF.
Well, JSIF, I mean, we've been around for 24 years, and we're formed originally as a part of the government's National Poverty Alleviation Strategy. And for many years, for decades, for 15 to 20 years, we spent a lot of time dealing with access to education, access to proper health, access roads, of course, and social and organizational strengthening, making community groups stronger. We believe we've been successful. We number our beneficiaries at 1.8 million Jamaicans, direct and indirect. So you could see close to 2/3 of our population has interacted with one of our projects. And we now currently are working in a portfolio of economic livelihood Ready, which we just spoke about, disaster vulnerability. We are also in crime prevention, as well as sanitation. So those are the things that we believe keep people poor. If we're able to reinforce and strengthen those things, then we should all rise as a nation.
We thank you for the work you've been doing,
you.
and we just wish you all the best with this Ready 2 project.
Thank you.
Good. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Managing Director of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, Omar Sweeney. For more information on the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and its initiatives, visit its website at www.jsif.org. Until next time, when Get the Facts brings you, as always, more useful information, I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Thanks for watching and take good care.
You've asked for it, and now it's here. The Jamaica Information Service has updated its mobile app. It's easier to navigate, loads even faster than before, talking about top speed, operates seamlessly across platforms, and we're a creative bunch, so it's much easier on the eyes. Now you have quick and easy access to news stories, television and radio features, and a variety of photos right at your fingertips. And you'll get push notifications when new content is uploaded. Download the app on your Apple and Android devices now and get news you can use. Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica on the go.
Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks and Oliver Samuels are just two of the hundreds of recipients that were awarded at this year's National Honors and Awards ceremony. They've represented Jamaica well over the years, both locally and internationally.
I don't know what kind of person I am. I know what kind of person I would like to be. I would like to be dedicated and passionate and loyal and patriotic.
I pledge my heart forever to serve with humble pride.
We learn all of those things from our parents, and from primary school, at least when I went to primary school. And we had to learn all of those wonderful patriotic songs and say the pledge every day, even if when you get to this age, you don't remember it word for word. It is in your blood. It becomes part of your DNA.
Now make us strong and free. Our vows and loyal promises, all hearts and tears to thee.
Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks for meritorious service to Jamaican culture.
I haven't quite made up my mind how I feel. My head tells me that it is always a wonderful thing to be recognized for the work that you do. My heart tells me that once you're recognized for the work that you do, you're expected to do more. And so whereas in the past you would have been going merrily along, doing what you're doing, now you realize that somebody is watching, and therefore you have to do it differently and behave around it differently. So it's with a sense of gratitude but it is also with a sense of tremendous heightened responsibility. I'm passionate about reading about books, about the knowledge that we find in the books, about the virtual travel that we can do through books long before virtual became a buzzword. In terms of my own attachment to storytelling, it's the way I was raised. I lived outside of Jamaica for a while, and when I came back to Jamaica in 1997, the JCDC grabbed hold of me, and I trained 200 storytellers across the country, who then became trainers of participants in the JCDC annual festival competitions in storytelling. I'm very proud of that. I'm very happy with that. I have an organization called Ntukuma, the Storytelling Foundation of Jamaica, and in 2012 we successfully petitioned the Governor General to proclaim November 20 National Storytelling Day. We've been having a storytelling festival every year in November since 1998. It grows bigger and bigger. We're very proud of that. It's an international festival. So we have tellers from all over the world, from the African continent, from the Caribbean, from Europe. I'm very proud of that. I also worked in the Ministry of Education as the Director of Culture in Education Program. And as part of that work, I also successfully petitioned for the proclamation of the last Friday in February as Jamaica Day. I've received the Gold Star of Cayman for my contribution to the development of storytelling in their country, and I'm also an inductee in the Caribbean Hall of Fame. I just believe that storytelling should be an integral part of the curriculum, not as just entertainment, not as something we do before classes begin or while we're waiting to go home. But I think it is very important that we learn to deliver our curriculum through storytelling and to honor and elevate this very important part of who we are.
Queenie's Daughter, Music Boy, Dickens for Fippans, those are pantomimes. Then there's Trevor Rown's School's Out. I think that was the first production that I did and got an award for. And then there's the Carter Gambrell, the 8 o'clock Jamaica Times series, Patrick Brown, Ginger Knight, Oliver Samuels wrote and produced his own plays. I worked with Michael Dawson.
Like Amina, Oliver Samuels has a career dedicated to showcasing the Jamaican culture.
Look here, Jamaican story is untold. It come like say, we as a people, a little island like us, you see. Theory story is enough, you know. And when I talk about going from slavery, even in today's world, our stories are plentiful, colorful, laughable, cryable, and all. When we are cry, we are laugh same way. That's the greatness of our people. And therefore, I am motivated by my Jamaican people here and in the diaspora. And the wonderful things they say to me, about they recognizing my contribution and the many thanks for the many years of laughter, and that they are so grateful that they can always go back into the archives, into the Facebook or the YouTube, and find a piece by Oliver Samuels, and then them laugh same way when them tell me how boy them mother in the hospital, and all them need to do is to mention my name, and you see the smile on them faces.
Mr. Oliver Adolphus Samuels, OD, for 50 years of exceptional contribution to Jamaica's theatre and the extensive promotion of authentic Jamaican culture in performances to the Jamaican diaspora and international spectators worldwide.
You know, to be honored by the government of your country is an amazing achievement. For me in particular, because when me come out on and I tell you, say, work me come to help me like an alien mother, right? But I've always had an interest in theatre. and theater has drawn me to it, so it's a passion. And so I worked in the industry for 50 years, and to be honored or recognized by the government of this country that I was born in is a tremendous, tremendous, to me, achievement, and I am very, very honored by it.
I pledge my heart forever to serve with humble pride.
The JIS Heritage Competition is celebrating 10 years of youth expression on Jamaican history, culture, and tradition. If you're a primary level student, 9 to 12 years old, enter the essay competition. Write 400 to 500 words on the topic. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace. Identify a Jamaican from our past or an institution that exemplifies this statement from our national pledge and say why. Secondary level students, enter the poster competition. And tertiary students, send us your best snap for the photo competition. The topic, I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace. Enter now and play your part in preserving our national heritage. Great prizes to be won. For competition rules and guidelines, contact the JIS.
Jamaicans, I really love you. We'll smile the way right through. We're third millennium. I really like you, forever love you. We are wonderfully great, but happiness at all. Now, tomorrow, forever. I really like you, forever love you. Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello, hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello, hello. I'm a Jamaican. 'Cause I was born here, and I was raised here. Sunshine Jamaica, my blessed Jamaica, mighty one, oh, I bless our land always, for strength and our vigor, with love and our courage, oh yeah. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello, hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello, hello. I'm a Jamaican.
And this is where the magazine ends for today. But if you would like to see more content like this, then visit our YouTube page. We also have all the latest news and updates on our social media pages and on our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.